So here's what struck me immediately walking out of EPiC Elvis Presley in concert. I don't think this is really a movie about Elvis Presley. I think this is a movie Elvis always wanted to be in. And that sounds strange at first because obviously he was in a lot of movies. But if you know anything about his career, he hated them. He thought he could have been a real actor with the right script, the right director, the right material. He believed that that version of his career existed somewhere and he never got it. So what's fascinating about this film is the irony. The best film Elvis Presley ever appeared in might be the one made decades after his death, where he isn't acting at all. He's just performing. Because normally when we watch something about Elvis, we bring baggage with us. We know the story. We know the myth. We know the rise, the fall, the people around him, the decisions, the mistakes, the arguments about who he was and what he represented, but what he meant culturally. Every Elvis project usually asks you to interpret the man. This one doesn't. This one removes the conversation entirely and just says, here, watch him work. And that's the part I loved. This is not a biography. This is not investigative. This is not trying to explain Elvis Presley. It's a concert film, a celebration film. And I think that distinction matters because if you walk in expecting analysis, you will not get it. But if you walk in wanting to understand why people reacted to him the way they did, you absolutely will. The movie is built around restored concert footage, a lot of it lost or incomplete material that had been sitting in archives for decades, and you can feel the history immediately. There's a texture to it, a presence, and it doesn't feel like someone recreating Elvis. It feels like you're witnessing him exist in real time. What really makes the movie work, though, is what it chooses not to do. No talking heads, no experts explaining impact, no narration guiding your emotions. Just Elvis. You just watch the entertainer hold a room. And it becomes very clear, quickly, why Elvis was Elvis. Not because people said so, but because you see it happen. You watch the confidence exist at the same time. And something interesting happens while you're watching. You stop thinking about the legend and start thinking about the performer. All the outside noise disappears for a while. It actually reminded me more of something like Woodstock or classic rock documentaries than modern music films. Those weren't about explaining the culture, they were the culture captured on camera. This feels like that, a time capsule, but not in a nostalgic way, in a present tense way. Like you're sharing a space with the audience decades ago. And because of that, everyone will probably project different emotions onto it. If you admire him, you'll feel admiration. If you're conflicted about him, you'll probably still be conflicted about him. The film doesn't guide you. It just lets you react. Now, I do have one criticism. Baz Luhrmann is a very high energy filmmaker. He opens this movie with a lot of momentum, a lot of visual rhythm, and it grabs you immediately. But once the film settles into longer performance stretches, the pacing slows. It doesn't become boring, but it becomes heavier. You start to feel the runtime more. I wouldn't even call it a flaw so much as a reality of watching full performances instead of narrative scenes. You go from cinematic energy to concert endurance. And some people will love that, and some people will feel the drag. For me, it was noticeable, but it was very minor. What stayed with me more was the perspective shift, because when the film ends, you don't walk out thinking you learn new facts about Elvis Presley. You walk out reminded why people cared. And those are two very different experiences. This movie doesn't argue for his legacy, it demonstrates it. I've actually seen a lot of concert content recently, live shows, Nine Inch Nails, theatrical concerts, Stray Kids, K-pop stuff, and what makes this one stand out is intention. Most concert films capture this event. This one preserves a presence. It's less about documenting a night and more about preserving a phenomenon. So if you go in expecting a deep dive into Elvis's life, it's the wrong movie. If you go in expecting a visually loud Baz Luhrmann spectacle, not really that either. But if you go in wanting to spend time with the most influential performers ever and understand why he had that impact, this absolutely works. And honestly, it's probably works best in a theater with sound and scale and people reacting around you, because this film isn't trying to tell you what Elvis Presley meant. It's letting you experience why audiences once felt they were watching something unforgettable. And that's why I think, strangely enough, this may be the film he would have been most proudest of. Appreciate you going on this film journey with me, and as always, be real.
There's been a lot written and a lot said, but never from my side of the story.